What if the story you've always believed about one of history's greatest wonders was entirely wrong? The Great Pyramids of Giza, towering symbols of ancient Egyptian civilization, have stood for thousands of years as monuments to human ingenuity, or so we've been told. But what if they are not what they seem? What if these awe-inspiring structures were not the work of the ancient Egyptians at all? The very idea might sound impossible, even absurd, but as we peel back the layers of history, an undeniable air of mystery begins to emerge. How could such architectural precision, astronomical alignment, and monumental scale have been achieved with the tools and knowledge we believe they had at the time? Why do essential details about their construction remain shrouded in ambiguity, absent from the otherwise detailed records left behind by this meticulous civilization? As we journey together through compelling evidence and alternative theories, we'll uncover possibilities that challenge everything we think we know about these iconic structures. Stay with us as we explore the clues, the controversies, and the secrets hidden within the sands of time, and prepare to question the very foundation of history itself. Now turning to the timeline conflict, we encounter one of the most puzzling discrepancies that challenge the traditional narrative of the pyramids' origins. Ancient Egyptian civilization, as most historians agree, began flourishing around 5,000 years ago during the early dynastic period. Yet, geological evidence suggests that the pyramids themselves, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, may date back much further than this timeline allows. Some researchers have pointed to erosion patterns on the stones and the geological weathering visible on surrounding structures as clues that the pyramids could predate the Egyptian civilization as we know it by thousands of years. This idea, while controversial, has sparked heated debates among historians and archaeologists alike. If the pyramids are indeed far older than the civilization credited with building them, it begs the question who or what could have constructed them. This timeline problem opens the door to alternative interpretations of history, interpretations that could rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. And as we delve deeper into these mysteries, we begin to see just how significant this chronological conflict is to unraveling the truth. Moving forward, let us examine the astonishing precision embedded in the construction of the pyramids, a level of architectural excellence that continues to baffle scientists and engineers to this day. The Great Pyramid of Giza, in particular, demonstrates an almost supernatural mastery of not only construction but also alignment. Its sides are perfectly oriented to the cardinal points of north, south, east, and west, with a margin of error so small that it rivals and in some cases surpasses our modern building standards. Even more perplexing is the fact that the pyramid's alignment seems tied to astronomical phenomena. For instance, some researchers believe that the structure's positioning aligns with certain constellations or celestial points, such as Orion's belt. Such accuracy raises questions about the tools and knowledge required to achieve this feat. How could the ancient Egyptians have acquired such advanced understanding of geography, astronomy, and engineering without the sophisticated technology we rely on today? And this precision does not end with alignment. The individual limestone and granite blocks, some weighing tens of thousands of pounds, were cut and placed with extraordinary exactness. Modern engineers have marveled at how the stones fit together so seamlessly that even a razor blade cannot slide between them. How these cuts were made, especially given the absence of steel tools or machinery, remains a mystery. Traditional theories involving copper tools fail to explain the high level of craftsmanship, as copper would have been inadequate for cutting through such hard materials with the required precision. The sheer scale, alignment, and accuracy of the construction suggest a level of technological ability far beyond what is typically attributed to the ancient Egyptians of this time. This brings us to a profound question: was this knowledge truly their own, or did it originate from an advanced, perhaps even unknown, external source? As we uncover more about this architectural enigma, the mystery only deepens. Now turning to another perplexing aspect of this mystery, we face the undeniable absence of written records regarding the construction of the pyramids. Ancient Egyptian civilization was renowned for its meticulous documentation. From grand inscriptions detailing military victories to everyday records of crop yields and trading activities, the Egyptians left behind a wealth of hieroglyphs and carvings chronicling nearly every facet of their existence. Yet when it comes to the construction of the pyramids, these iconic monuments that dominate their legacy, the historical record is eerily silent. There are no blueprints, no step-by-step instructions, no written accounts of the techniques employed. This glaring omission raises significant questions. How could a civilization that documented so much of its daily life neglect to record the methods, tools, and workforce behind what would have been the most monumental building projects of their age? Even the quarrying, transporting, and placing of millions of limestone and granite blocks, a task of unimaginable scale, receives no detailed mention in the surviving texts. Some argue that the lack of documentation suggests the Egyptians were not the original builders, but rather inheritors of structures that predated their civilization. Others propose that perhaps this knowledge was so advanced or sacred that it was intentionally kept secret, passed down orally, or reserved for a select group of individuals. But if this were the case, why would no hints of such traditions have survived in the archaeological or written record? It is this silence, a silence in a culture otherwise rich in storytelling and preservation, that compels us to continue searching for answers. Could this absence of evidence point to an external influence, an earlier civilization, or simply a lost chapter of history? As we delve deeper, we find that this void in the record does not stand alone but is part of a broader puzzle, one that raises even more profound questions about the origins of these ancient wonders. Moving forward, let us explore the traditional theories proposed to explain how the pyramids were constructed, specifically the widely accepted idea of massive ramps being used to haul the colossal stones into place. On paper, this might sound feasible, but when we examine the sheer logistics involved, cracks begin to appear in this explanation. To achieve the height of the Great Pyramid, for instance, these ramps would have to be extraordinarily long, with a gentle enough slope to allow workers to drag multi-ton blocks upward. Estimates suggest such a ramp would need to stretch over a mile in length, consuming resources and manpower on a scale almost as monumental as the pyramid itself. This presents not only a design challenge but also a maintenance nightmare. How would they have removed or dismantled these massive ramps without leaving significant traces behind? After all, no substantial evidence of these ramps has been discovered near the pyramids. Furthermore, the time frame often cited for pyramid construction, approximately 20 years, compounds the skepticism. To meet this timeline, calculations show that workers would need to place a block every few minutes, non-stop, day and night. This pace seems highly improbable, especially considering the limitations of the tools and methods presumed to have been available at the time. Could thousands of laborers using only primitive technologies really achieve such a feat with this level of precision and efficiency? Even the logistics of coordinating such an enormous workforce, complete with feeding and housing them, would have been an unprecedented challenge for ancient society. These logistical hurdles lead many to question whether the ramp theory adequately explains the construction process, or if it is simply a convenient assumption that overlooks critical inconsistencies. Could it be that the methods used were far more advanced than we currently understand? Or does this point to external knowledge or a lost technology that has yet to be rediscovered? These questions push us to think beyond conventional explanations and consider possibilities that may redefine our understanding of ancient engineering altogether. As this debate continues to unravel, another pressing mystery invites our attention, one that challenges the tools themselves used in this extraordinary endeavor. Now turning to the tools themselves, we encounter another conundrum that has puzzled experts for decades. The ancient Egyptians are believed to have relied primarily on copper tools for the construction of the pyramids, tools that, while adequate for carving softer materials like sandstone, would have been entirely insufficient for working with the levels of precision required on harder stones such as granite or limestone. Consider the massive granite blocks used in the construction of the King's Chamber within the Great Pyramid. These stones, weighing up to 70 tons each, were not only transported from quarries over 500 miles away, but had to be cut and shaped with astonishing accuracy. Copper, being a relatively soft metal, would have quickly dulled or deformed with such an undertaking. Even under optimal conditions, it is highly doubtful these tools could achieve the flawless cuts and finishes observed on these stones. Modern experiments have attempted to replicate this process using copper chisels and primitive methods, but the results have consistently fallen short. These tests reveal that not only would such techniques require an inordinate amount of time, far exceeding the 20-year construction timeline, but also a level of manpower and endurance that raises serious doubts about feasibility. Moreover, the precision of the interlocking blocks, with joints so tight that even a sheet of paper cannot fit between them, suggests a level of craftsmanship that far surpasses what copper tools could realistically achieve. How then were these intricate and massive stones shaped and assembled with such finesse? Adding to the mystery is the lack of wear or tool marks on many of the blocks, which would be expected if rudimentary copper tools had been employed. This absence suggests that either the tools were far more advanced than currently believed, or that an entirely different and unknown technique was used, one that possibly involved technologies or methods lost to time. Could this point to external influences or the remnants of a forgotten civilization possessing superior knowledge? Or does it push us to rethink the ingenuity and capabilities of ancient societies in ways we have yet to fully comprehend? As we grapple with these questions, we are drawn toward yet another layer of mystery: how the astonishing mathematical and astronomical alignments of the pyramids further defy conventional explanations. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the realm of advanced mathematics and astronomy, fields in which the pyramids seem to excel in ways that continue to astound modern researchers. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance, is not just a monumental structure but also a mathematical masterpiece. Its proportions encode a wealth of knowledge, including the approximate value of pi, the golden ratio, and even relationships tied to the dimensions of Earth itself. Remarkably, the pyramid's base perimeter divided by its height yields a close approximation of pi, a mathematical constant not officially documented until thousands of years later. This precision raises profound questions. How could such advanced mathematical concepts have been embedded in the design of a structure built in an era long before these principles were formally understood? Equally astonishing is the precision with which the pyramids align with the cardinal points of the compass. The Great Pyramid sides are aligned to the north, south, east, and west with an accuracy that rivals modern surveying techniques. Furthermore, its positioning corresponds to the geographic center of all landmass on Earth, a feat that would require an understanding of the planet's geography far beyond what is traditionally ascribed to the ancient Egyptians. Many researchers argue that such precision suggests knowledge of geodetic principles or mapping technologies that did not exist during the time of the pyramid's supposed construction. Adding yet another layer of intrigue is the astronomical alignment of the pyramids with celestial bodies. The three main pyramids of Giza are believed to mirror the layout of Orion's belt, a constellation deeply significant in ancient mythology. This alignment is so precise that it reflects an advanced understanding of astronomy and celestial mechanics. Some proponents of alternative theories suggest this implies the builders had access to knowledge or tools far ahead of their time. Were the pyramids designed to serve as celestial observatories, or do they signify a connection to the stars that hints at deeper, perhaps extraterrestrial influences? These mathematical and astronomical elements challenge traditional explanations and push us to reconsider the intellectual capabilities and technological sophistication of ancient societies. Could this level of precision and cosmic alignment have been achieved without external influence or advanced tools? Or does this evidence point toward the involvement of a forgotten civilization, or perhaps visitors from beyond Earth endowed with knowledge light years ahead of its time? With these profound questions lingering, we turn our attention to yet another perplexing enigma: the logistical feat of transporting and assembling the gargantuan granite blocks used in the pyramid's construction. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we now confront the staggering logistical challenge of transporting the immense granite blocks used in the pyramid's construction blocks that weigh as much as 70 tons each. Most of these colossal stones were sourced from Aswan, a quarry located over 500 miles away from Giza. This raises an extraordinary question: how did an ancient civilization, equipped with what we are told were primitive tools and no machinery, manage to move such massive stones across such a vast distance? Traditional theories suggest that these blocks were transported along the Nile River using wooden boats. However, the practicality of this idea becomes questionable when you consider the size and weight of the stones. The sheer engineering required to load, stabilize, and maneuver these blocks on wooden vessels begs for a re-examination of whether this method was feasible without advanced tools or infrastructure. Moreover, once these massive stones reached the Giza Plateau, they still needed to be transported uphill and positioned with astonishing precision, a task that modern engineers admit would pose serious challenges even with today's technology. One prevailing hypothesis involves the use of sledges and lubricated tracks. Researchers propose that workers dragged the blocks on sledges using water to reduce friction. Yet even this method would demand an immense workforce, careful coordination, and a level of organizational expertise that is challenging to reconcile with the tools and methods available at the time. Calculations indicate that moving just one block would require hundreds of workers pulling in unison, not to mention the constant need for water in a desert environment to lubricate the tracks. Could this method realistically have been sustained for the estimated 2.3 million blocks used in the Great Pyramid alone? Another theory proposes that rolling logs were used to transport the stones, but this too presents issues. Egypt's natural landscape has very few trees, and the shortage of wood raises doubts about whether enough logs could have been sourced to support such an operation. Furthermore, the wear and tear on these logs from the immense weight would mean they'd need constant replacement, adding another layer of complexity to an already Herculean task. These logistical puzzles compel us to consider whether the ancient Egyptians had access to techniques, technologies, or perhaps even external assistance that we have yet to uncover. Could they have utilized methods or tools that have been lost to history, or does this point to the involvement of a more advanced or forgotten civilization? As we ponder these possibilities, we are drawn deeper into the mystery, uncovering clues and raising questions that continue to defy conventional explanations. As the next challenge unfolds, we shift our focus to the Great Sphinx, a monument shrouded in as much mystery as the pyramids themselves. This iconic structure, carved from limestone, presents a compelling clue that defies the conventional timeline of ancient Egyptian civilization. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Sphinx is its weathering patterns. Experts like geologist Robert Schoch argue that the erosion visible on the Sphinx is not consistent with the arid, desert environment we associate with Giza today. Instead, the patterns resemble damage caused by prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall, something that has not occurred in the region for thousands of years. If water erosion is indeed responsible for the weathering on the Sphinx, it would suggest that the monument predates the desert climate, potentially aligning its origins with a time when the area experienced significant rainfall. This would place its construction not in the era of the ancient Egyptians, but perhaps thousands of years earlier, during a period when a different, more advanced civilization could have inhabited the region. The implications of this are profound. It challenges the accepted narrative that the Sphinx was built during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre and opens the door to the possibility of a lost chapter in human history. Critics of this theory often argue that wind and sand could explain the erosion, but proponents counter that the patterns are too uniform and deep to be caused by mere sandblasting. Furthermore, structures like the Sphinx Temple, built from the limestone blocks removed during the carving of the Sphinx, show no similar weathering. This discrepancy adds weight to the idea that the Sphinx itself might be far older than traditionally believed, existing long before the Egyptian dynasties officially began. This reinterpretation of the weathering evidence invites us to consider who or what could have created such a monumental statue in an era before recorded history. Could it have been the work of a highly advanced pre-Egyptian civilization, now lost to the sands of time, with knowledge and skills that rival or even surpass those of the ancient Egyptians? If so, what happened to this civilization, and why does so little trace of it remain? As we ponder these questions, the mystery grows deeper, and the evidence continues to evoke more questions than answers. The Sphinx, with its enigmatic gaze fixed on the horizon, seems to guard secrets from a time we can scarcely imagine. With this in mind, let us explore another fascinating clue that connects the pyramids to other ancient structures across the globe, suggesting a shared knowledge or influence that transcends cultures and continents. Moving forward, we delve into a fascinating connection that stretches far beyond the sands of Egypt. The pyramids of Giza, with their awe-inspiring design and precision, are not the only monumental structures of their kind. Strikingly similar pyramidal and megalithic structures can be found scattered across the globe, in the dense jungles of South America, the sprawling plains of central Mexico, and even the remote landscapes of Asia. This begs the question, could there have been a shared thread of knowledge, a global influence, or even a singular advanced civilization that predates recorded history? Consider the pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico. These structures, like the Egyptian pyramids, exhibit an extraordinary understanding of geometry, astronomy, and alignment with celestial bodies. The Pyramid of the Sun, for example, aligns almost perfectly with the cardinal points, a feature echoed by the Great Pyramid of Giza. Meanwhile, the intricate network of megalithic stone circles in Göbekli Tepe, located in present-day Turkey, predates Egypt's first dynasty by several millennia. These ancient constructions demonstrate precision and complexity that suggest knowledge far beyond what we associate with the time periods in which they were built. Similarly, the pyramids of China, particularly the enigmatic White Pyramid near Xi'an, bear design similarities to those found in Egypt. These global parallels draw attention to the possibility that ancient builders, separated by vast oceans and continents, might have been connected in ways that mainstream history struggles to explain. Could there have been an exchange of ideas, or even an earlier civilization with the capability to influence different corners of the globe? The recurring themes of pyramid construction, advanced engineering, and celestial alignment found worldwide hint at a knowledge system that transcends cultures. What is particularly intriguing about these structures is that they often appear to emerge fully formed, with no clear evolutionary architectural history leading up to them. This abrupt emergence fuels speculation that their designs might have stemmed from a single advanced source now lost in the mists of time. These similarities raise profound questions. Were these ancient builders guided by a unifying force, perhaps a pre-cataclysmic civilization whose existence has been erased by time? Or is it possible that different cultures independently arrived at these strikingly similar ideas, driven by shared human ingenuity and curiosity about the cosmos and our place within it? Each of these structures, from South America to Asia, carries whispers of a forgotten era where knowledge and technology may have flourished on a global scale. As we unravel these connections, the notion that the pyramids are unique to Egypt erodes, and a deeper, more interconnected story emerges. The global ties between these ancient monuments compel us to rethink what we know about human history, urging us to look beyond the accepted narrative and consider the likelihood of a lost chapter in our collective past. With these thoughts in mind, we now pivot to another intriguing omission that challenges conventional theories: the lack of mummified pharaohs within the Great Pyramids themselves, and what this might reveal about their true purpose. Now turning to the absence of mummified pharaohs within the Great Pyramids, we stumble upon yet another perplexing anomaly that challenges the mainstream narrative. For centuries, we have been told that these iconic edifices were built as grand tombs for Egypt's mighty rulers, yet no physical remains of pharaohs have ever been discovered inside. This stark absence stands in sharp contrast to other burial sites in ancient Egypt, where elaborate mummified remains and treasures have been found meticulously preserved. Instead, the interiors of the Great Pyramids appear eerily barren, devoid of the intricate funerary artifacts and hieroglyphic inscriptions typically associated with royal burials. This curious omission raises the question: were these monumental structures ever intended to serve as tombs at all? When we look at the other sacred sites attributed to ancient Egyptians, such as the Valley of the Kings, the evidence of burial practices is undeniable. Elaborate sarcophagi, ritual objects, and detailed inscriptions narrating the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife are abundantly present. So why does this pattern break so dramatically when it comes to the Great Pyramids? Some propose that grave robbers looted these structures long ago, carrying away all traces of their royal occupants. However, this explanation falls short when we consider the level of security and secrecy that typically surrounded pharaonic tombs. Additionally, even in cases of robbery, the physical remains of the deceased bones or fragments often survive, yet none have been found here. Instead, skeptics argue that the pyramids had an entirely different function, one unrelated to serving as the eternal resting places for ancient Egyptian rulers. The design of these structures poses another clue. Unlike the chambers of known tombs, the inner passages of the Great Pyramids are starkly unadorned and lack the storytelling engravings that depicted the pharaoh's divine lineage or instructions for their journey into the afterlife. This glaring discrepancy raises the possibility that their purpose lay beyond mere mortuary use. If not tombs, then what were they? Could their true function align with some of the alternative theories we've explored, such as energy generation, astronomical observation, or something even more enigmatic? This unanswered question about the missing mummified remains adds yet another layer to the growing mystery of the pyramids, inviting us to rethink their intended purpose and role in ancient civilizations. As we continue peeling back the layers of this enigmatic story, another peculiar and puzzling aspect comes into view: the resonance theory and its bold suggestion that these structures were designed to harness and amplify energy, leading us deeper into the realm of unconventional possibilities. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the intriguing realm of the resonance theory, a bold proposition suggesting that the pyramids were far more than monumental tombs. According to this theory, the Great Pyramids were ingeniously designed to function as energy generators or resonators, harnessing and amplifying natural forces present within the Earth. Advocates of this idea point to the unique combination of materials used in their construction. For instance, the outer casing stones made of highly polished white limestone could have acted as insulators, while the inner chambers, constructed with conductive granite, might have enabled energy transmission. This meticulous selection of materials raises the possibility that these structures were engineered with an advanced understanding of energy properties. Scientific experiments have provided some intriguing insights into this theory. Researchers have discovered that the pyramid shape itself can influence electromagnetic waves in unexpected ways. A recent simulation conducted by physicists demonstrated that the Great Pyramid, when exposed to certain frequencies, can concentrate electromagnetic energy within its internal chambers and beneath its base. This discovery adds credibility to the notion that the pyramids might have been purposefully designed to interact with energy fields. Additionally, proponents of the resonance theory highlight the pyramid's alignment with Earth's magnetic grid lines, suggesting that its location was deliberately chosen to maximize its energetic potential. The idea becomes even more fascinating when we consider ancient accounts and myths that describe the pyramids as sources of power or divine energy. Could these stories hint at a now lost knowledge of harnessing energy on a scale we are only beginning to understand? While mainstream archaeology remains skeptical of this theory due to the lack of direct evidence, the extraordinary precision of the pyramid's design and their enigmatic qualities continue to fuel speculation. Were these structures intended to generate or channel energy, possibly for purposes unknown to us today? Whether or not this theory holds the ultimate answer, it undeniably pushes us to expand our understanding of ancient engineering and the untapped potential of energy in shaping civilizations. This line of inquiry opens yet another door to the uncharted mysteries of the pyramids, propelling us deeper into the search for their true purpose. Moving forward, we encounter another striking possibility: the notion that this advanced knowledge, if it existed, might have originated from a now-lost civilization or even otherworldly beings. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into the intriguing concept of the lost technology hypothesis, a compelling idea that suggests the pyramids might have been constructed using advanced methods or tools that have since vanished from history. This theory challenges traditional narratives by proposing that the ancient Egyptians may have inherited or discovered techniques from a much older, forgotten civilization, or perhaps even developed knowledge that was later lost due to cataclysmic events or societal collapse. Among the most fascinating aspects of this hypothesis is the suggestion that sound, rather than brute force, could have been the key to moving the massive stones used in the pyramid's construction. Ancient texts and myths from Egypt and other cultures around the world reference the use of sound or vibration to manipulate objects. Some scholars point to these stories as potential evidence of an advanced understanding of acoustics, one that could allow sound waves to reduce the perceived weight of objects or even levitate them. The idea may seem far-fetched at first, but modern science has demonstrated that sound waves indeed possess the ability to move and manipulate small objects under specific conditions. Could ancient civilizations have taken this concept to a level we can barely comprehend today? Proponents also highlight detailed carvings and depictions from ancient Egyptian temples showing mysterious devices or tools that some interpret as representations of advanced machinery or techniques. These carvings, coupled with the sheer scale and precision of the pyramids, compel us to consider the possibility that a sophisticated technology, either developed independently or inherited, was at play. If the Egyptians possessed such knowledge, how did it vanish without a trace? Some theorists speculate that catastrophic natural disasters, such as floods or meteor impacts, could have erased entire civilizations and their technological achievements from history, leaving behind only enigmatic structures like the pyramids as clues to their capabilities. What remains unshakable is the question of how such massive feats were achieved with the tools and resources typically associated with the ancient Egyptian period. Were these tools underestimated, or does the lost technology hypothesis hold the missing pieces to this incredible puzzle? As we unravel these ideas, it becomes clear that the pyramids may be more than relics of ancient Egypt. They could represent a connection to an advanced legacy or a forgotten chapter of human ingenuity. With this thought in mind, we turn to yet another captivating perspective: the controversial idea of external intervention, suggesting that the origins of this knowledge may not have been entirely earthly. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we explore a theory that has fascinated and divided people for decades: the idea of alien intervention in the construction of the pyramids. This perspective suggests that extraterrestrial beings could have played a direct or indirect role in the creation of these monumental structures, offering an explanation for the seemingly impossible engineering feats achieved thousands of years ago. Proponents of this theory often point to ancient artwork and myths that, when viewed through this lens, appear to depict encounters with beings who do not resemble humans. For example, hieroglyphs and carvings found in some Egyptian temples display figures with elongated heads, large eyes, or unusual shapes, which some interpret as representations of alien visitors. These depictions, while open to interpretation, fuel speculation that the Egyptians may have recorded interactions with advanced beings capable of sharing knowledge or technology. Supporters of this theory also note the stories of the sky gods found in ancient Egyptian texts and myths. These accounts often describe powerful beings descending from the heavens and imparting wisdom or aid to humanity. Could these tales be allegorical descriptions of extraterrestrial encounters? The alignment of the Great Pyramid with celestial bodies, such as Orion's belt, further bolsters the argument, as it suggests a deep understanding of astronomy that might have come from an external source. Skeptics argue that these interpretations rely too heavily on speculation, and that the artwork in question could simply reflect symbolic or religious imagery rather than literal encounters. However, the alien intervention theory continues to captivate because it offers a dramatic explanation for how the pyramid's construction defies conventional understanding of ancient technology. Could the Egyptians have received guidance from beings far more advanced than we can imagine, or perhaps even directly collaborated with them? While undeniable proof of extraterrestrial involvement remains elusive, this theory opens the door to questions about humanity's past and whether we have been alone in our achievements. As we dive deeper into these mysteries, the focus shifts to puzzling geological inconsistencies that challenge the traditional timeline of when the pyramids and surrounding structures were built. Now turning to the geological impossibilities surrounding the construction of the pyramids, let us consider the sheer volume of materials and the time required to complete these structures. The Great Pyramid alone is estimated to contain approximately 2,300,000 stone blocks, each weighing on average 2.5 tons. Some individual blocks even reach weights of up to 80 tons. Transporting, carving, and assembling these immense stones with the tools and technology believed to have been available during the dynastic Egyptian period presents a logistical challenge of staggering proportions. To put this into perspective, even with a consistent workforce of tens of thousands of laborers working year-round, the construction pace would need to maintain a mind-boggling precision and speed, placing one stone every few minutes for decades. This raises critical questions about the feasibility of such a feat. How could an ancient civilization with rudimentary tools have achieved this level of precision and efficiency? The tools attributed to the Egyptians at the time, primarily wooden sledges, rope, and copper chisels, seem woefully inadequate for this scale of work. For instance, copper is far softer than the granite used in parts of the pyramids, making it highly improbable that such tools could have shaped these stones with the precision seen in their finished forms. Moreover, the quarries where some of these stones originated, such as in Aswan for the granite blocks, are located hundreds of miles away from the pyramid sites. The transportation of these stones through challenging terrain and across the Nile River only compounds the logistical puzzle. Current theories suggest the use of wooden sledges and lubricated tracks, but even these explanations strain credibility when considering the sheer weight of the materials and the distances involved. Adding to this is the timeline issue. The most widely accepted historical accounts suggest the Great Pyramid was constructed over a period of around 20 years. This time frame seems almost inconceivable when matched against the labor intensity of quarrying, transporting, and assembling millions of massive stones with such incredible precision. Traditional explanations appear to fall short in addressing these logistical challenges without invoking some form of advanced or external assistance. Could an unidentified factor, whether a form of lost technology or external influence, hold the key to unlocking this mystery? As we consider these possibilities, the question becomes not just about how the pyramids were built, but whether the tools and resources traditionally credited to the Egyptians could have realistically accomplished this feat. Moving forward, we delve into another fascinating angle of this enigma: the similarities between the pyramids and other megalithic structures from distant parts of the world, suggesting a potential shared knowledge or influence. Moving forward, let us explore an intriguing aspect of this mystery: the striking presence of pyramid structures found in vastly different regions of the world, far removed from ancient Egypt. From the awe-inspiring pyramids of Teotihuacan in Mexico to the towering pyramids of Mara in Sudan, and even the pyramid-like structures in China's Shaanxi province, these monuments share undeniable similarities in form and concept. What makes this even more fascinating is that these civilizations were separated not only by great distances, but also by significant differences in culture, language, and era. Yet, despite these barriers, there appears to be a shared architectural fascination with the pyramid shape. This raises the compelling question: could these structures reflect a universal knowledge or influence that transcended time and geography? The parallels between these ancient pyramids extend beyond their outward appearance. Many of them exhibit remarkable precision in their construction, alignment to astronomical phenomena, and connections to spiritual or ritualistic purposes. For instance, the pyramids in Mesoamerica, such as the Pyramid of the Sun, are meticulously aligned with celestial events, much like the pyramids of Giza. Furthermore, the sheer effort and resources required to construct these monuments suggest they held profound importance to the societies that built them. Is it possible that these shared traits point to a common origin of knowledge, or could they be evidence of a lost advanced civilization that influenced multiple cultures around the world? Critics often argue that the similarity in pyramid design may simply reflect a natural architectural solution, stacking smaller levels upon larger ones for stability. However, this explanation does little to address the deeper complexities of their alignment, engineering, and purpose. The possibility of a shared global influence becomes even harder to dismiss when considering the similarities in methods of stonework, astronomical precision, and symbolism. These features hint at an underlying thread connecting these ancient cultures, a thread that challenges the notion of pyramid construction being an entirely isolated development within each society. Could there have been an ancient, interconnected network of knowledge that guided these civilizations, or might there be a yet undiscovered explanation for these global parallels? As we continue to unravel this enigma, it becomes clear that the pyramids are far more than mere monuments. They are potentially keys to a shared history far richer and more interconnected than traditional narratives suggest. With this in mind, let us now turn our focus to another profound mystery: the absence of documented evidence detailing the construction of the Egyptian pyramids, an omission that further deepens the questions surrounding their origins. Now turning to the mystery of the missing blueprints, we encounter one of the most puzzling gaps in the narrative of the pyramid's construction. The Egyptians were known for their meticulous record-keeping, documenting everything from daily market transactions to battles and royal decrees. Yet, when it comes to the construction of the pyramids, these monumental feats of engineering, there is a conspicuous absence of detailed architectural plans, schematics, or blueprints. These structures required precise coordination, not only in their design but also in the logistics of quarrying, transporting, and placing millions of massive stone blocks. How could such a staggering undertaking have been achieved without any surviving documentation to guide the project? This lack of evidence leads to profound questions about the methods and tools that may have been used. Did the Egyptians rely on oral traditions or some now lost system of planning? Or, more intriguingly, could the absence of blueprints point to the involvement of another group or even an advanced technology that left no trace in the historical record? The precision and complexity of the pyramid's construction suggest a level of expertise and organization that would typically demand extensive planning. From the exact alignment with cardinal points to the precise dimensions and angles, these achievements seem beyond the capabilities of trial and error construction. Without blueprints, how did they calculate such perfection? This enigma opens the door to the possibility that the knowledge required to build the pyramids might have originated from a source outside traditional Egyptian society. Whether this points to a forgotten pre-Egyptian civilization, advanced tools now lost to time, or external guidance, the lack of documentation challenges the conventional view of pyramid construction. What secrets might still lie hidden beneath their massive stones or encoded in their very structure? And more critically, does this mystery suggest we have misunderstood not just how these monuments were built, but who might have been involved? As we continue our investigation into this enduring mystery, let us delve deeper into another thought-provoking question. What role might ancient myths and legends play in uncovering the true story behind the pyramids? As the next phase of the journey unfolds, we turn our attention to the enigmatic Sphinx, a figure that has stood as a silent sentinel near the Great Pyramids for thousands of years. The Sphinx is not merely an artistic or symbolic addition to the pyramid complex. It is a monument shrouded in mystery and clues that may hold the key to understanding a deeper connection to a civilization predating ancient Egypt. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence lies in the erosion patterns found on the Sphinx. Unlike the pyramids, which show weathering consistent with an arid desert climate, the Sphinx displays signs of significant water erosion. This suggests prolonged exposure to heavy rainfall, conditions that have not existed in the Giza region for thousands of years. Could this mean the Sphinx was carved during a time when the climate was dramatically different, potentially long before the rise of Egyptian civilization as we know it? Some geologists argue that these weathering patterns indicate the Sphinx could date back to a period of intense rainfall, possibly over 10,000 years ago, aligning it with the end of the last ice age. If this is true, it would place the construction of the Sphinx far earlier than the traditional timeframes attributed to Egyptian dynasties. Such a revelation opens the door to the possibility of a lost civilization, one capable of monumental construction and advanced engineering, existing well before the Egyptians. Adding to the intrigue is the absence of inscriptions or records definitively linking the Sphinx to any known pharaoh. While conventional narratives attribute its construction to Pharaoh Khafre, this connection is largely speculative, based on circumstantial evidence rather than direct proof. The Sphinx seems to stand apart, a relic whose origins and purpose remain frustratingly elusive. Is it possible that the Sphinx predates the pyramids themselves? And if so, who carved it and why? Some theories suggest it may have been part of an earlier, larger complex aligned with astronomical events or possibly acting as a guardian to ancient knowledge. This ancient monument may even hold secrets buried beneath its massive pores, as ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed voids and chambers yet to be fully explored. What might these hidden spaces contain? Could they offer definitive evidence of a forgotten age, a lost technology, or a civilization that predates recorded history? The Sphinx challenges us to reconsider the timeline of human advancement and leaves us with more questions than answers. As its stoic expression gazes eternally toward the horizon, it seems to beckon us to dig deeper, both figuratively and literally, into the mysteries of our past. With this enduring puzzle in mind, let us now shift our focus to another perplexing aspect of the pyramid complex: the theory that these monumental structures may have functioned as ancient power plants, harnessing energy in ways we are only beginning to imagine. As the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into one of the most intriguing and unconventional theories about the pyramids, the idea that they were not merely tombs or monuments, but advanced power plants harnessing natural energy. This hypothesis, championed by researchers like Christopher Dunn, suggests that the Great Pyramid of Giza was designed with a purpose far beyond what traditional archaeology proposes. According to Dunn, the internal structure of the pyramid, including its chambers and passageways, resembles the components of a machine rather than a mausoleum. He argues that the pyramid's design could have been intended to capture and amplify the Earth's natural vibrations, converting them into usable energy. One of the most compelling aspects of this theory lies in the materials used in the pyramid's construction. The limestone casing stones, now mostly gone, were highly polished and would have helped the pyramid reflect sunlight, possibly making it a conductor of energy. Inside, the king's chamber contains granite blocks rich in quartz, a material known for its piezoelectric properties, meaning it can generate an electric charge under mechanical stress. This raises the question, was this strategic use of materials evidence of a deeper understanding of energy systems? Another fascinating clue comes from the pyramid's internal configuration. Dunn and others point to the Great Pyramid's alignment with true north and its precise geographical location as evidence of advanced planning and knowledge. Furthermore, the shafts leading out of the king and queen's chambers have sparked speculation they could have served purposes beyond mere ventilation, perhaps functioning as conduits for energy transmission. The theory becomes even more intriguing when you consider Egyptian mythology and artwork, which often depict mysterious devices and references to harnessing natural forces. Could these be symbolic representations of technologies now lost to time? If the pyramids were indeed designed as power plants, it challenges much of what we think we know about ancient civilizations. This would imply a level of technological understanding that rivals or even surpasses what we have today. It might also explain why the Great Pyramid lacks traditional decorations or inscriptions. It was not a monument to a ruler but a functional machine serving an entirely different purpose. While mainstream archaeology remains skeptical of this hypothesis, the power plant theory provides a fascinating lens through which to view the pyramid's true purpose. It invites us to rethink the achievements of ancient societies and consider the possibility that their capabilities extended far beyond what we currently acknowledge. Next, let us shift to the remarkable mathematical and astronomical alignments of the pyramids, which further deepen the mystery of their construction and purpose. Now turning to the advanced mapping anomaly, the placement of the Great Pyramid of Giza offers yet another extraordinary puzzle. Remarkably, the pyramid is situated at what many researchers identify as the geographic center of Earth's landmass. This means that if you were to divide the Earth's surface into equal quarters, the pyramid would rest at the intersection point. Such precision raises an intriguing question. How could an ancient civilization lacking modern mapping tools have achieved this feat? Was it simply an incredible coincidence, or does it point to a more profound understanding of geography and mathematics than we presently attribute to the builders? Some proponents of alternative theories argue that this precise placement indicates the use of advanced mapping techniques long before the development of such technology in recorded history. They suggest that whoever designed the pyramid may have had access to a comprehensive knowledge of Earth's dimensions and layout. This brings us to the possibility that the ancient builders could have utilized methods or tools that have since been lost to time. One theory proposes that they might have relied on celestial navigation, using the stars and other astronomical markers to determine exact locations on Earth. However, even with this explanation, aligning such a massive structure so precisely with the landmass distribution of the entire planet would require a level of accuracy and global awareness that seems almost implausible for the time. This anomaly becomes even more perplexing when considering the pyramid's alignment with true north. the structure is aligned to within just a fraction of a degree. Such precision suggests not only advanced measurements but also an understanding of Earth's axis. Could this knowledge have come from a civilization far older or more advanced than the ancient Egyptians, or even from an external source of guidance? The advanced mapping anomaly challenges conventional explanations and invites us to reconsider what we know about the capabilities of ancient societies. It hints at a forgotten chapter of human history, or perhaps a global exchange of knowledge that allowed for such extraordinary achievements. As we dive deeper, the mathematical and astronomical alignments of the pyramids further illustrate the enigma of their construction and purpose, pushing the boundaries of what we believe possible for ancient civilizations. Moving forward, we encounter the extraordinary challenge of transporting over 2 million massive stone blocks that make up the Great Pyramid of Giza. Each of these blocks weighs anywhere from 2.5 to 15 tons, raising a dilemma that has puzzled experts for centuries. Conventional theories suggest that ancient Egyptians used sledges and wooden rollers to haul these stones across miles of desert terrain. But this explanation quickly unravels when we consider the sheer scale of the task. First, the number of trees required to create enough rollers would be astronomical, especially in a region where wood was scarce. Additionally, the weight of these blocks would crush most wooden rollers long before they reached their destination. Proponents of this theory also struggle to explain how workers navigated the uneven, shifting sands of the desert without modern engineering tools. Then there's the issue of the granite blocks used in the pyramid's inner chambers. These stones were brought from quarries over 500 miles away in Aswan, a journey that would involve crossing the Nile River and traversing rugged terrain. The logistics of moving such heavy materials over such a vast distance seem almost inconceivable with the tools and technologies available at the time. While some suggest the use of barges to transport the stones along the river, this still doesn't account for how they were lifted and positioned with astounding precision once they reached the construction site. This is where alternative theories step in, proposing that the ancient builders may have possessed advanced or now lost technologies. Some researchers speculate the use of sound or vibration-based techniques to reduce the weight of the stones, inspired by legends of ancient civilizations manipulating sound waves to achieve seemingly impossible feats. Others suggest that an external influence, perhaps from a more advanced or even extraterrestrial source, provided the knowledge and tools necessary for such an incredible undertaking. Whatever the method, the transportation of these stones remains one of the greatest enigmas of the pyramid's construction. It challenges the boundaries of what we currently understand about ancient engineering and compels us to explore the possibility that the builders had access to capabilities far beyond what history traditionally credits to them. As we delve further, the next aspect of their masterpiece, the artifacts and tools associated with the construction site, raises even more questions about the origins and methods behind these monumental achievements. Now turning to the mysterious artifacts and tools discovered near the pyramids, we find yet another layer of intrigue that challenges traditional narratives. Among these findings are objects that appear to defy the technological limitations of ancient Egypt. For instance, some tools allegedly used to shape the massive stones show patterns of precision cuts and drill marks that match the capabilities of modern machinery but seem out of place in a copper tool-based society. These objects raise the question, how could ancient Egyptians, with their rudimentary toolkit, produce results that require advanced techniques like high-speed drilling or laser-like precision? Beyond tools, other artifacts found near the pyramids have perplexed researchers with their unknown purpose or origin. Strange stone spheres, for example, have been unearthed around the construction sites, and while their use remains speculative, some theorize they could have been part of a more advanced system, possibly for reducing friction or facilitating movement in ways not yet fully understood. Then there are carvings and inscriptions that showcase geometric designs and patterns far more intricate than what is typically attributed to dynastic Egypt. These peculiarities suggest the possibility of knowledge that doesn't quite fit within the historical timeline we associate with the era. Some researchers argue that these artifacts could point to the influence of an earlier, more advanced civilization, one that either predated or coexisted with the ancient Egyptians. Others take this theory a step further, proposing that such objects could be evidence of extraterrestrial involvement, with alien visitors providing the tools or technologies necessary for these architectural achievements. While these theories may sound far-fetched to some, they offer a compelling explanation for anomalies that conventional archaeology struggles to address. The existence of these mysterious tools and artifacts continues to ignite debates and invites us to consider that the pyramid's construction may involve elements of human ingenuity combined with lost, borrowed, or even gifted technologies from a source beyond our conventional understanding. As we move deeper into this enigma, the next topic takes us to an even more perplexing realm: the advanced mathematical and astronomical knowledge embedded within the pyramid's design, a knowledge that seems almost too advanced for its time. As the next layer of mystery unfolds, the pyramid shape itself invites an exploration of its deeper symbolism, a form that transcends time and geography. Across ancient cultures worldwide, the pyramid consistently appears as a prominent architectural choice, from the towering structures of Mesoamerica to the step pyramids in Asia. This recurring theme begs the question: why were so many civilizations separated by vast oceans and millennia drawn to the same geometric form? Some researchers suggest that the pyramid was chosen not merely for its structural stability, but for reasons tied to energy, spirituality, or even cosmic alignment. The triangular faces converging to a single point are often interpreted as a metaphor for ascension, representing a journey from the earthly realm to the divine. This design, many theorize, could symbolize a connection to higher planes of existence or serve as a spiritual conduit. Beyond its symbolic resonance, others argue that the shape may have functional implications as well. Theories abound suggesting that pyramids could amplify or harness natural energy fields. The concept of energy flowing through specific geometric shapes appears frequently in ancient lore, and some propose that pyramids were intentionally constructed to harness this power, perhaps as centers for healing, meditation, or even technological purposes. Moreover, the orientation of the Great Pyramid of Giza, in particular, aligns with astonishing precision to the cardinal points of the compass, while its proportions seem to encode mathematical values tied to the dimensions of Earth, the solar system, and universal constants. This level of deliberate design raises the possibility that the pyramid's form held scientific as well as symbolic significance. It is difficult to dismiss these alignments as mere coincidence, given their accuracy and the lack of modern instruments available at the time. Could the pyramid's shape itself carry a purpose far beyond what we currently comprehend? Whether viewed through the lens of spirituality, physics, or an advanced understanding of the cosmos, the pyramid's recurring presence speaks to a universal language that ancient cultures seem to understand but that modern science is still striving to decode. These intersecting theories of symbolism and purpose compel us to reconsider the pyramids not just as monuments of human achievement, but as repositories of lost knowledge. And as we continue our journey into the intricate layers of this enigma, the next question beckons: does the advanced mapping of these structures suggest a deeper understanding of our planet, one that ties these ancient wonders to the very geography of the Earth itself? Now turning to one of the most debated and captivating theories, we arrive at the connection between the pyramids and the legendary lost civilization of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis originates from the writings of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who described a highly advanced society that mysteriously disappeared beneath the waves thousands of years ago. While many dismiss Atlantis as a mere allegory, Proponents of this theory argue that it could represent a real civilization possessing extraordinary technology and knowledge far beyond its time. These proponents suggest that the Atlanteans, renowned for their engineering and scientific prowess, might have been the true architects behind the pyramids. According to this theory, the pyramids serve as evidence of a once global civilization that shared technological and cultural advancements before a catastrophic event wiped much of it from history. Supporters point to the precision and complexity of the pyramids, which they argue align more closely with the capabilities described in the tales of Atlantis than with those of the ancient Egyptians. They propose that the Atlanteans, with their supposed mastery of energy manipulation and advanced construction methods, created the pyramids not merely as tombs but as powerful tools or beacons, perhaps designed for communication, energy generation, or even as repositories of their knowledge. Some also claim that the mathematical and astronomical precision observed in the Great Pyramid reflects a depth of understanding that could only be attributed to a civilization with significant expertise in these fields. The alignment of the pyramid with Earth's cardinal points, along with encoded values tied to the planet's dimensions, is seen by some as a testament to the Atlanteans' unparalleled grasp of geography and the cosmos. Adding intrigue, ancient myths and legends from around the world echo themes of great floods and lost civilizations, fueling speculation that these shared stories may point to a real event that erased much of humanity's progress. Could the pyramids be the last surviving legacy of a golden age now lost to time? While traditional historians remain skeptical, the idea persists, drawing interest from those who believe that Atlantis was not just a myth but a piece of forgotten history intricately tied to the wonders of the pyramids. As these theories weave a tapestry of mystery, they leave us to ponder. If the pyramids truly are remnants of a lost civilization, what other secrets might they hold? And as we shift our focus to the architectural marvels themselves, another question emerges. Could the very structure of the pyramids hint at a more profound purpose, one rooted in their potential as massive energy generators? As the next phase of the journey unfolds, we delve into the realm of ancient Egyptian religious texts and myths, which might hold subtle clues contradicting their established role in constructing the pyramids. The ancient Egyptians were known for their deep devotion to their gods and an intricate mythology that permeated every aspect of their lives. However, when we explore their sacred writings and legends, an interesting question arises. Why do these texts seem curiously silent about the building of these monumental structures? While the pyramids are often linked to pharaohs and their journey to the afterlife, the religious texts that detail these beliefs, such as the pyramid texts, do not provide any concrete accounts or instructions on how the pyramids themselves were built. Instead, these writings focus heavily on metaphysical themes, celestial connections, and the divine roles of the gods. Interestingly, some interpretations suggest that the ancient myths surrounding their gods, particularly those involving creation and cosmic order, may hint at knowledge inherited from an unknown source. For example, the god Thoth, often associated with wisdom, science, and mathematics, was said to have gifted humanity with profound knowledge, including the principles of sacred geometry. Could this imply that the ancient Egyptians were not the originators of the pyramid's design, but rather beneficiaries of advanced knowledge passed down from an earlier or external influence? Additionally, some myths refer to a time before the pharaohs, a golden age of the gods when divine beings ruled the earth. This predynastic era, sometimes referred to as Zep Tepi, or the first time, is described as a period of extraordinary advancements and harmony. Proponents of alternative theories suggest that Zep Tepi might symbolize a forgotten epoch, where the blueprint for the pyramids was established by a civilization or force far older than the ancient Egyptians. Further fueling speculation are global flood myths, with a notable story being that of Nun, the primordial waters, seen as a recurring theme in Egyptian lore. These myths make one wonder whether such narratives could carry echoes of real events that erased vast amounts of human history and progress, leaving behind only enigmatic remnants like the pyramids. If the oral traditions and religious texts of the Egyptians are examined through this lens, could it be that these stories are not solely allegorical, but also serve as fragmented memories of a past civilization whose legacy influenced the Egyptians? While conventional scholars may attribute these religious accounts to symbolic storytelling, others argue that the lack of practical construction details and the focus on divine inspiration suggest that the Egyptians viewed the pyramids not as mere human achievements but as sacred structures potentially linked to celestial or even otherworldly forces. It leaves us with an intriguing thought. If these myths do hint at pre-dynastic knowledge or external guidance, could the religious and spiritual reverence for the pyramids have overshadowed the memory of their true creators? As we unravel these mysteries, we must now turn our attention to another captivating aspect of pyramid theories: the possibility that their intricate design and alignment with cosmic phenomena were not just acts of devotion but deliberate feats of advanced mathematics and astronomy. With the next phase of the journey in sight, let us now explore one of the most tantalizing mysteries of the Great Pyramid: the discovery of hidden chambers concealed deep within its ancient structure. Thanks to advancements in modern technology, particularly ground-penetrating radar and thermal imaging, researchers have uncovered anomalies within the pyramid that suggest the presence of previously unknown voids and passages. These findings have ignited widespread speculation about what might lie within these hidden spaces and why they have remained undetected for so long. Could these chambers hold artifacts, records, or treasures that could rewrite history, or might they serve a more enigmatic purpose? One of the most notable discoveries came in recent years when scientists identified a large, unexplored cavity above the Grand Gallery, stretching many feet in length. This space, invisible to the naked eye, had gone unnoticed for millennia, concealed behind the dense limestone blocks. Yet its existence raises intriguing questions. Why would the pyramids' builders create such voids, and what were they intended to contain or protect? Some researchers theorize that these chambers may have served as weight-relieving spaces to stabilize the structure, while others propose far more provocative ideas. Could they have been designed to house sacred objects, advanced knowledge, or perhaps even relics left by an earlier civilization connected to the pyramid's construction? Adding another layer of intrigue is the deliberate precision with which these chambers were hidden. Their placement suggests a level of architectural foresight that is astonishing, even by modern standards. Why go to such great lengths to ensure these spaces remained undiscovered? Some argue this secrecy could align with the idea that the pyramids had not only physical but also metaphysical significance, functioning as much more than tombs or monuments. Perhaps these voids were integral to the pyramid's purpose, whether as energy conduits, astronomical tools, or something entirely beyond our understanding. The absence of direct access to these chambers further complicates exploration. Scientists must rely on non-invasive methods like muon tomography, a technique that uses cosmic rays to map the internal features of the pyramid. While this technology has provided groundbreaking insights, it also adds an air of mystery. After all, the full content and purpose of these spaces remain hidden from view, locked away within the pyramid's ancient heart. Could this enigmatic concealment be intentional, meant to protect something of extraordinary importance? As we consider these hidden chambers and their secrets, we are left with more questions than answers. Are they the result of sheer engineering brilliance, or do they stand as silent witnesses to a forgotten chapter of human history? Did the ancient Egyptians know what lay within, or were they themselves inheritors of a structure whose secrets preceded them? These chambers challenge not only our perception of the pyramids but also our understanding of the civilization that built, or perhaps inherited them. With this compelling mystery in mind, we now turn to yet another fascinating aspect of the pyramid's design: their unparalleled mathematical precision and astronomical alignment, which continue to baffle and inspire researchers to this day. As the next chapter of this extraordinary enigma unfolds, we arrive at the astonishing mathematical precision embedded within the pyramid's design, a precision so advanced that it continues to baffle even modern researchers. Take, for instance, the relationship between the Great Pyramid and the Golden Ratio, also known as phi. When the pyramid's height is compared to the perimeter of its base, the result approximates this famous ratio, widely regarded as a cornerstone of aesthetic and architectural harmony. This is no ordinary coincidence. The consistent presence of phi in the structure suggests a deliberate application of advanced mathematical principles, far beyond what ancient Egyptian society is traditionally credited with possessing. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. The Great Pyramid also reflects a near-perfect approximation of pi, the mathematical constant foundational to understanding circles and geometry. When the base length is divided by twice the height, the resulting ratio closely mirrors pi, a connection that has left scholars scratching their heads. How could this civilization, with its supposed lack of advanced tools and limited mathematical records, demonstrate such profound understanding? This alignment with both phi and pi raises the possibility of knowledge that was either far ahead of its time or inherited from an earlier, advanced source. Even more astonishing is the pyramid's direct connection to the speed of light, a discovery that seems almost too precise to be accidental. Some researchers have pointed out that when the pyramid's latitude is converted into a numerical format, it matches the speed of light in a vacuum, measured in meters per second. This realization has sparked a whirlwind of speculation. Was this an extraordinary coincidence, or could the pyramid's builders have possessed an understanding of physical constants that they integrated deliberately into its design? And if they did, where did this knowledge come from? This mathematical mastery extends to the pyramid's astronomical alignment. The Great Pyramid's sides are oriented almost perfectly to the cardinal points north, east, south, and west, with an accuracy within a fraction of a degree. Such precision in alignment, achieved without modern tools, defies explanation. It suggests the builders not only understood advanced geometry, but also possessed an exceptional grasp of celestial mechanics. Some argue that this knowledge implies access to tools and techniques far ahead of what was available in ancient Egypt. Others propose an even bolder idea, that the Great Pyramid was not merely a monument but a mathematical and astronomical instrument deliberately encoded with universal truths. These observations beg the question, could this level of mathematical and astronomical precision have arisen independently in ancient Egypt? Or is it evidence of an external influence, perhaps an earlier, highly advanced civilization whose expertise shaped the pyramid's construction? Whatever the case, these mathematical hallmarks challenge our perception of history and force us to reconsider what we thought we knew about human ingenuity in the ancient world. With these questions lingering in our minds, we now turn our attention to another compelling puzzle: the mind-boggling logistics behind transporting the enormous granite blocks used to build the pyramid's blocks that weigh over many tons and were moved across vast distances, testing the limits of ancient technology. Now turning to another perplexing aspect of this enigma, let's examine the missing evidence for the immense workforce traditionally believed to have built the pyramids. Conventional theories suggest that tens of thousands of laborers, or even slaves, toiled for decades to complete these monumental structures. But here's the issue: archaeological records fail to provide definitive proof of such an enormous workforce existing in the necessary numbers or being adequately supported over such a prolonged period. For a project of this scale, one would expect clear, extensive evidence of worker housing, food supply chains, and tools sufficient to sustain and equip this massive population. Yet, what has been unearthed so far raises more questions than answers. While some remains of worker villages have been discovered, their size and scope fall far short of what would be required for the alleged tens of thousands of laborers working continuously. These settlements suggest temporary accommodations, but they lack the infrastructure you'd expect for an operation of this magnitude. Where are the expansive kitchens, waste facilities, and supply storage areas necessary to feed and house such a vast workforce for decades? The absence of large-scale grave sites or burial grounds for these workers further deepens the mystery. Building the pyramids would have been hazardous, and injuries or fatalities would have been inevitable. Where, then, are the remains of those who perished during this monumental endeavor? The logistical challenges of feeding this supposed workforce are equally daunting. Without modern transportation or agriculture, sustaining a population this large would have required meticulous planning and massive food supplies. Ancient Egyptian texts and records, known for their detailed accounts of daily life, do not mention the extensive systems that would have been needed. How could they have maintained such an effort without leaving behind an undeniable trace of their activities? This gap in evidence leaves us questioning whether the traditional narrative holds up under scrutiny. And then there's the issue of organization. Managing thousands of laborers, coordinating shifts, and ensuring synchronization of tasks over decades would have been a Herculean undertaking. This would require a level of administrative complexity that, again, is not reflected in the surviving records from ancient Egypt. While Egyptologists point to hieroglyphs that depict labor scenes, such depictions are far from detailed instructions or descriptions of pyramid construction logistics. Instead, they leave us with more ambiguity than clarity. Could it be that an alternative explanation exists, one that does not rely on the assumed presence of a massive, centralized workforce? Some researchers propose that advanced, now lost techniques or machinery may have negated the need for such a labor force altogether. Others speculate that smaller, more specialized teams, possibly guided by knowledge passed down from an earlier advanced civilization, could have achieved these incredible feats. Whatever the truth may be, the lack of conclusive evidence for the supposed workforce undeniably challenges the traditional story and invites us to question how these architectural marvels were truly brought to life. As we dig deeper into these unresolved puzzles, our attention shifts to yet another incredible conundrum: the striking similarities shared by the pyramids of Egypt and other megalithic structures from across the globe, hinting at a possible shared knowledge or mysterious connection that defies the timeline of history as we know it. Moving forward, let's delve into the intriguing cross-cultural connections between pyramids in Egypt and those found in other corners of the world. When we compare these monumental structures, the similarities in design, construction techniques, and symbolism are truly astonishing. Consider the pyramids of Mesoamerica, such as the ones constructed by the Maya and Aztec civilizations. These pyramids, although distinct in style, share an impressive level of geometric precision and alignment with astronomical bodies, much like their Egyptian counterparts. How is it that civilizations separated by vast oceans and thousands of years could independently achieve such architectural and scientific sophistication? The parallels extend beyond just structure. In both Egypt and Mesoamerica, the pyramid shape often held deep spiritual or cosmic significance. In ancient Egypt, the pyramids were seen as a symbolic connection between the earthly realm and the heavens. Similarly, in Mesoamerican cultures, pyramids were often dedicated to celestial deities and used for rituals tied to the movements of the stars. This shared symbolism raises the question: could these cultures have been influenced by a common source of advanced knowledge, one that transcends time and geography? And it doesn't stop there. Halfway across the world, in places like China and Indonesia, we find pyramid-like structures that mirror these same traits. The stepped pyramids of Java and the ancient burial mounds of China bear striking resemblances to those found in Egypt and Mesoamerica, in both their purpose and their construction. These similarities push us to consider whether the pyramid shape itself might have been part of some universal design concept, possibly tied to energy harnessing, spiritual practices, or advanced geometry that our modern understanding has yet to fully grasp. Some researchers propose that the global prevalence of pyramids could point to a lost civilization with advanced engineering knowledge that spread its influence across the ancient world. They argue that such a civilization, existing long before recorded history, might have shared its architectural methods and spiritual beliefs with cultures that later adapted them to their own unique context. Others suggest that this phenomenon could reflect an innate human tendency to interpret and shape the natural world in similar ways, despite the separation of cultures. But even this second explanation leaves unanswered questions. How can we account for the extraordinary precision in the measurements and alignments of these structures? From the Great Pyramid of Giza to the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico, a level of accuracy and consistency is evident that would be difficult to achieve without some shared understanding of advanced mathematics and astronomy. Was this an accidental convergence of human ingenuity, or does it hint at something far more interconnected, an ancient thread of knowledge that has been largely lost to time? As we trace these threads of connection, it becomes clear that the story of pyramids may not be as isolated as traditional history would have us believe. Could these structures, scattered across the globe yet bearing uncanny similarities, serve as evidence of a forgotten chapter in human civilization? Or do they suggest that ancient cultures were far more interconnected than we currently understand? Whatever the case, the cross-cultural similarities of these pyramids demand deeper investigation and compel us to reconsider the narratives we've long accepted. With these questions in mind, let us now shift our focus to another layer of mystery, the possibility that the pyramids were not designed as tombs at all, but served an entirely different and vastly more complex purpose that challenges our understanding of their role in ancient societies. Now turning to the enigma of alternative builders, we find ourselves exploring a realm of fascinating speculation. Could ancient structures like the pyramids of Giza be remnants of a civilization that existed long before the Egyptians, a civilization advanced enough to construct these monumental wonders? Some researchers believe that pre-cataclysmic societies, potentially thriving over 10,000 years ago, might hold the key to this mystery. These civilizations are theorized to have possessed a level of technological and architectural expertise far surpassing what was available during the known timeline of ancient Egypt. Evidence often cited includes geological studies, such as those suggesting the Great Sphinx may exhibit water erosion patterns dating back to a period when the region experienced a much wetter climate, potentially thousands of years before Egyptian dynasties emerged. But the theories do not stop with ancient earthly civilizations. Another provocative idea points to extraterrestrial involvement. This concept, popularized in part by ancient astronaut theorists, proposes that beings from beyond our planet may have intervened in human history, providing advanced knowledge and tools to aid in the construction of the pyramids. Proponents argue that the precision and complexity of these structures, coupled with their astronomical alignments and challenging construction techniques, could be indicative of assistance from a species far more advanced than humanity at the time. They point to ancient myths, art, and texts from various cultures that seem to describe encounters with gods or celestial beings, possibly hinting at contact with visitors from other worlds. Skeptics, of course, demand concrete evidence for such claims, but the lack of definitive answers only fuels the intrigue. Whether it is theories of pre-cataclysmic architects or extraterrestrial benefactors, what remains undeniable is that these alternative builder hypotheses challenge the traditional narrative. They invite us to question not only who built the pyramids, but also what level of knowledge and ability was truly accessible in the ancient world. As we ponder these possibilities, one overarching question persists. Are these theories evidence of ambitious imagination, or do they point to a forgotten chapter of human history, one that radically redefines our understanding of the ancient past? As the sun sets on our exploration, let us weave together the threads of this captivating mystery. We have unraveled inconsistencies in the timeline, examined the astounding precision of the pyramid's construction, and questioned the feasibility of the tools and techniques attributed to the Egyptians. We delved into the advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy encoded in their designs, and even pondered the possibility of an ancient, forgotten civilization or external intervention shaping these monumental structures. Each theory, from pre-cataclysmic architects to extraterrestrial influences, challenges the traditional narrative and invites us to rethink the limits of ancient human capability, or perhaps even human involvement altogether. Could these pyramids be the enigmatic remnants of a lost chapter in our history, one that forces us to reconsider everything we think we know about our past? The truth remains shrouded in mystery, and the questions linger: who truly built the pyramids and why? What secrets are still hidden within these age-old stones? Now it is your turn to be part of this quest. Share your thoughts, your theories, and your questions in the comments below. Let the conversation continue and the intrigue grow. And if you enjoyed this journey through the unknown, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay connected as we uncover more of history's greatest mysteries. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.